students, welcome to online lecture series for Software Engineering KCS 601. Myself Dr. Inderjit Kaur, Associate Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. So, after discussing the software maintenance cost and re-engineering and reverse engineering, we will be discussing the software configuration management activities in this lecture. So, let us start from the last phase, software maintenance first of all. So, maintenance means the changes they are being suggested to the software product after its delivery, means the software has been evolved now. So, this maintenance phase, it is being defined as in which the software it performs the useful work in this period, and we know that this maintenance period it lasts longer than our development period. The developers they must be writing the code, testing the code for 1 year or 2 years and so, but the maintenance of the software it is required for more than 10 years till the time software gets lasted or there are some changes or it gets totally obsolete. So, the various management activities it includes making the improvements in the product, making the product adaptable to tune with the new changes, and then the error correction. Why this software maintenance is required? Because we want to fix the bugs. So, for bug fixing it is required, then to implement the enhancements that are being suggested in this new environment. So, to enhance our existing software this maintenance is required. Then to increase the non-functional qualities of our software, there can be some functional qualities, there are some non-functional qualities of the software. So, if we want to work on to increase our non-functional qualities of the software, there is a need for doing the software maintenance. Then to decrease the complexity of the software, this maintenance is required. This maintenance it makes it work to in the changed environment and it deletes the retired functionalities. Then what is the software maintenance agreement? It starts with scope. We need to look up the scope of the software project. Then we need to see the transitions, where are the possible suggestions. Then we need to define the maintenance process that includes all the 5 stages. Then we need to define the roles and responsibilities, rules of this maintenance, that are the different persons involved in this maintenance activity, and in the last we should do the cost estimation, means the cost of maintenance phase is calculated covering all the possible efforts. So, this maintenance process it starts with analyzing the changed request. Whatever changes they are being proposed, they are firstly analyzed. So, after that analysis the confirm request is being formed. So, once we have done the confirmation for changing the request, the design solution is being proposed. So, after this proposed design solution, this is documented now. So, after doing the documentation for this new design, we need to get the approval from authorities. So, then we will be getting the, after getting the approval, then we will be doing the implementation for the solution. Here I will be implementing my new solution, that is I will move on to the testing phase now. So, this solution that is being implemented means the new code is being written as per the changes, now it will be tested. So, different test cases they will be executed and then last the solution is being accepted. So, this maintenance process it covers all these phases to include the new changes after the delivery of the software product. So, what are the different challenges that the maintenance software maintenance faces? There is a variability in the team members. developers, every time when we see there are lot of persons who leaves and then some new persons they joins the team. So, they are not very much aware of the software. Then there is a limited domain knowledge who are using this software. Then it totally depends upon the quality of the code written. Suppose we have written the code and it is every time using the go to statement. So, that is not a good sign. Then there is a limited documentation, that again is a big challenge when we are doing the software maintenance. Then there comes some testing issues when we are performing the different kinds of testing at different levels. Then there is a limited access to the developers. So, that again is a big challenge for the software maintenance. Then comes starting with configuration management. Configuration management, it is defined as a process involving a set of activities that are being developed to manage the changes throughout the life cycle of my computer system. Then this SCM, configuration management, it tells me the software quality assurance. Then it controls of the evolution of complex system. Now, the complex system can be involved, how they can be. So, this configuration management, also known as change management, it tells me that. It defines the mechanisms to identify the various versions of the software as we are suggesting the changes. So, now I will be with the new version of the software. So, how we are defining the process for having the latest version of the software. So, it includes that. Then it includes the auditing of the software configuration. Then it includes the reporting of all changes that are being done in the original software configuration. As we know that the output of a software process is the information. This information, it is divided into 3 parts. We can say it can be in the form of computer programs, it can be in the form of work product, it can be in the form of data or content. Then moving on to the configuration management in software, that means we are now having software configuration management, that stands for SCM. So, this SCM, it is an arrangement of exercises controlling changed by recognizing the items that will be changed. That means, it is a process that involves setting up the connections between those items that needs to be changed. We are going to decide which items of different phases of our SDLC they require changes. That means, characterizing the parts for variants in my different phases of SDLC is done in SCM. So, controlling the changes being executed in my current framework, then it allows me to do inspecting and reporting the changes, and it is a fundamental piece of project management activities. Then why there is a need for doing this software configuration management? Because there are multiple people that are working in a given project. Once we are in a software organization, there can be more than 100 persons, 200 persons working on the same project. So, what does that mean? Every person has its own mind, he has his own thought process. So, he may suggest some changes, other person comes, he does the same. So, there can be multiple changes being done at the same time. So, to maintain consistent level in my entire software, this is required, software configuration management. Then there may be the different version of documents or software may exist, we need the one consistent one. Then there may be different releases to the customers, and then there is a need for coordination and streamlined process, that is why we want this SCM. There are multiple persons attacking the using the same software while doing the requirement changes, while doing the detailed design changes, while doing the coding, while doing the testing. Then there are several customers who are using the same application for some or another reason. So, everybody wants coordination and streamlined everybody. So, for that reason we require SCM. So, SCM means there can be some change in requirements, there can be change in team members, or there can be changes in organization, there can be change in the project schedule, there can be change in the government policies, rules. So, all these factors they affects my software code, they affect my project plan, they affect the other documents, they affect the testing phase, they affect my gathered data. So, the control cost that is involved in making changes to the system, and there are changes in the software configuration items that affects my final product. That is why we require this SCM, that is the need for SCM, software configuration management, because everybody is affecting my software in one or another manner. Then we need to discuss about various management activities in my SCM, or we may say it is a SCM process. So, from this diagram we can see that here it is my SCI, the problem is being identified here, change control is my next step, then we have the version control, then configuration auditing and the reporting. These are the different levels of my doing software configuration identification. So, we will be discussing one by one. So, the first activity is configuration identification, then we move on to the baselines, then we discuss about the change control, configuration status accounting, and then in the last configuration audits and conducting the reviews. So, let us start with the configuration identification. This is where we find the scope of the software system, then it manages or it controls the unknown things that are not known, then it contains the CSCI type, means it consists of computer software configuration items, project identifier and the version information, all the information related to the software product. Now, next is what are the different activities involved in this configuration identification. So, the first is identification of the source code modules, identification of test cases and identification of requirement specification. Whatever configuration items they are being identified as a first activity in this configuration identification. Then CSCI identification in the SCM repository using the object oriented approach. It starts with the basic objects and it forms the different aggregates of the objects. Then it identifies the object features and lists them as per the required resources. Then the second one is the most important, that is my baseline. Baseline, it is the officially accepted version of my software configuration item. SCI officially we call it as a baseline. So, it is fixed at specific time duration in my SCM process. Then it can be changed through the formal change control procedures. Then the different activities that are being performed in this baseline, that are, it helps in construction of various application versions. Then it determines the mechanisms for managing the various versions, because now we are having the changes in the software and then it will be comprising of different versions of the software. Then it resembles to reviewed the software system requirements. Then commonly used comprised functional development and product baselines. Then this baseline means we are now ready for release. Our software product, it is ready for release. Then the third activity, that is my change control. Change control, it ensures the quality and the consistency that should be retained even after the change in my configuration object. The change request, it is submitted to the software configuration manager. The different activities of this CC, they are the stable software development environment is being constructed. Then these changes, they are being saved to the repository. Then it checks the request as per the technical merit, what are the different possible side effects and how it is going to give an impact on my configuration objects. Then it manages the different changes and it marks the configuration items that are being available now. So, this was my third activity. After this change control, I have configuration status accounting. This configuration status accounting means it is recording every release during the SCM. As the name suggests, it is doing accounting. It is accounting every release of my software done during software configuration management, and then it is tracking every actual version along with its change, means how many version the software is having and in which version what thing we have changed, it is keeping that record. So, that means the activities done in this configuration status accounting phase, it records all the changes that are being made to the previous baseline, so as we can reach to the new ready software. Then it identifies all the items to define the software configuration. Then it monitors the status of every change request. Then it allows the tracking of the progress to meet to the next baseline. Then it allows to check the previous releases also for that are extracted for testing purpose. Then the last phase, that is configuration audits and reviews. So, after accounting, we are now at the verification phase. So, it verifies all the software product, they satisfy the requirement as per the baseline or no, and it ensures ki what is built and what it is delivered, they both are same or no. So, the activities done during this audit and review phase are, it is being conducted by different auditors by doing the checking as per the defined process, ensuring that the SCM goals, they are being satisfied. Then it verifies the compliance with my configuration control standards. Then here my traceability is also being maintained during this configuration, auditing and review. Then the changes, they are being complied with configuration status report. So, this was all about my SCM process. Who are now involved in this SCM process, we should study that is knowing the SCM participants. Here is the SCM operation scenario going on. These are the persons that are being involved in my SCM activity. They are project manager, they are configuration manager, they are developer and they are the user. So, let us discuss the role of all these participants one by one. First is my configuration manager. He is the person responsible for identifying the configuration items. What are the different configuration items? He is the person who will decide, who will identify. So, he is also responsible for defining the different methods for software promotion and for releasing the different versions of the software. Then the second person, that is my developer. The role of the developer is he needs to change the code as per the standard development activities, and he is the only person who can change the request. Then the developer is responsible for maintaining the code configuration. Then the developer is checking the changes, and if there are coming any conflicts, he is resolving them. Then the third participant is the auditor. Auditor is responsible for conducting the SCM audit and reviews as a last activity of my SCM process. And then he is also responsible for ensuring the consistency and the release completion as per standards. Then the next participant is my project manager. Project manager ensures the product development in certain time, all the things they are happening in the certain time or no. Then he is monitoring the development process and he is recognizing the different issues if they are arising. Then he is the person who is generating reports for the status of software system at present. Then the most important one is the user. The role of user is to understand the key SCM terms to ensure to work with the latest version of the software. So, what are the SCM plans? It follows the public standard like IEEE 828 or as per the organization standards. It defines the types of documents to be managed, and the document naming should be done like test version 1, test version 2. So, it defines the person responsible for SCM process. It also fixes the policies for doing the version management, and it defines the tool that are being used during SCM. These are the various software configuration management tools available in the market. Some of them are listed as Microsoft Visual Source Safe, that is also known as VSS, then the concurrent version system CVS, then subversion SVN, then ClearCase, SourceForge, Rational Team Connect, Microsoft Team Foundation servers known as TFS. So, this was all about software configuration management and the various activities that are being performed in SCM. Thank you.